I'm Bob Trask, and this is our weekly reset. This is where we start each week with renewed optimism and self confidence and a sense of being who we came here to be in our lives. Success in relationships, in business, and daily joy from this weekly reset. Let's start with meditation, shall we? So if you'll just get comfortable, close your eyes and begin to breathe, if you will, in through your nose, just gently breathing in through your nose. And as you breathe in, know that you're breathing in the breath of grace, of pure grace, which is love, which is the power of the universe, which is that power, that grace, that protective love that has held you through all of your life, in the ups and downs, in the goods and the bads, in the wins and in the terrible tragedies, in the sicknesses, and in the times when you felt forlorn. Always, 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 you were surrounded by the gentleness of love. Always. So now, as you breathe gently in through your nose and hold that breath, and then when it's appropriate, let it go and feel yourself falling deeper and deeper into that abyss of love and of peace. With every breath, you fall deeper into love, deeper into that abyss of pure peace. You are love. You are peace. You are the one that has come. Can you know? Can you just know right now that you are loved, that you are blessed, that you are safe, that you are free? Can you just know that? In all of time, in all of space, there never has been and there never will be another you. That's how precious, how unique and indescribably precious you are. Relax now into that peace and joy, breathing gently in through your nose, holding it, and then relaxing it and letting it go. Breathing pure grace, becoming grace, becoming peace, being pure love. as you are pure love. Softly, softly caressing yourself from within. Today we're going to be talking about the wise heart. Let your heart right now relax and hold you in its purity. And now just be at peace. And when you come back to us, when you come back to our group, bring with you this beautiful child. Come back as the real you, gentle and loving and filled with grace. Come back. And so, my dear friend, my dear, dear friend, today we're talking about the wise heart. The wise heart. Your heart is a muscle. That's all it is. It's just a little muscle the size of your fist. It's so much more than that. It's so much more than that. Do you know that it's pumping 2,000 gallons of blood a day, every single day? Every single day. Do you know how much that is? Take a look at this. Take a look at this. That would be 20 of those barrels. 20 of them. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 20. 20 of those barrels to hold the blood, just the blood that you are pumping each day with that magnificent heart of yours. Each day. Each day. And the reason it has to pump so many gallons of blood is that, now listen to this, it has to circulate that blood through 60,000 miles of blood vessels. That's 100,000 kilometers, or approximately 2.5 times around the earth. That's your blood system. That's your heart. And it will do that day in and day out for nearly 100 years. Every year, your little fist-sized heart pumps 730,000 gallons of blood, 22 million miles. Physically, that's got to seem impossible, wonderful, and crazy. 730,000 gallons of blood, 22 million miles every year for 75 to 100 years. You could go to the moon and back 40 times every year and still not equal the distance your little fist-shaped heart is pumping your blood. I think you'll agree with me that that is a miracle. If every something was a miracle, this is it. But there's even something more amazing about your heart, something even more amazing. It also has its own mind. It also has its own brain. It's the home of consciousness. It's the home of awareness. It's the home of passion, of artistic expression. Consciousness, awareness, and love do not live in your brain. They live in your heart. In your heart that has memories and wisdom of its own. And it's our guide to living a full, meaningful, and joy-filled life. Our heart, that's our guide. And with every beat of our hearts, we're sending messages of balance, love, and peace to the brain. But the brain mind is controlled by the ego. The brain mind is controlled by the ego. So the messages from the heart to the brain oftentimes get intercepted by the ego. I know people, and I suppose you do too. I know people who cannot say to their loved ones, "I love you." They can't say those words. They can't say those words. "I love you." There's the ego is just stopping them because the intellectual mind doesn't know passion, doesn't know forgiveness, doesn't know gratitude, doesn't know joy, doesn't know grace, doesn't know peace. It's an intellectual mind. It conjugates and calculates, and it does all of that through memories, through layer after layer after layer of memories. And the memories, as you and I both know, are oftentimes false, are oftentimes wrong. You can have 5 kids in a family, right? 5 kids in a family. And then later, one of those kids says, "Do you remember when Dad was using the snowblower and it broke down and he threw it and it broke the fence? Do you remember that?" You're the only one of the 5 kids. The other kids remember it entirely different. Well, which one of them's right? Are any of them right? They remembered that because they saw it through the filters of their own memories, and they filtered that out and saw it the way it works for them. And everybody remembered it that way, and none of them are right. Memories are seldom right. And yet the ego is the controller of that. And when we just use our calculating brain, which I love, I've gone on and on about how magnificent the heart is physically. I could spend all day talking about the brain, the amazingness of the brain. But the brain is a computer. And we're talking today about feeling. We're talking about grace. We're talking about love. We're talking about connection of human beings to human beings and to animals and to trees and to the environment in which we live. So if you're letting your behavior and your life be controlled by your brain, then it's being controlled by a computer and you've become its robot. And then you've fallen out of balance with deep peace and truth. George Michael said, "You'll never find peace of mind until you listen to your heart." You'll never find peace of mind until you listen to your heart. And is that true? Is peace available in your heart, mind? Only if each day is a new, fresh adventure each day. Science has shown that more than 95% of the thoughts we had yesterday are the thoughts we're going to have today and the thoughts we're going to have tomorrow. 95% of our thoughts yesterday are going to be our thoughts today and our thoughts tomorrow. Oh my God. What about something new? But something new comes from your heart. So unless we're coming from wisdom of our heart, then we're not trusting our hearts, and we're not living in passion, and we're not having purpose and magic and miracles. Roy T. Bennett said, "Believe in your heart that you're meant to live in a life full of passion, purpose, magic, and miracles." Heart math research shows that the heart has more than 40,000 neurons that can each sense, feel, learn, and remember, and that it constantly is communicating with the brain. That information is sent to the entire body. That information of love, of peace, of kindness, of joy. biochemically, biophysically, and energetically, then let's agree, shall we? Let's just agree to, to step our lives up to the next highest order. Let's start using our hearts as an anchor, as the anchors of our lives. Let's make a conscious shift from just thinking to our hearts. See, if we do that, then what happens? But let me back up for just a minute. This universe that we live in, the planets, the stars. Wow, I just sent out to some friends a picture from the new telescope showing the formation of a new star. The glory of that. Oh, it was just against the night sky, the colors in that, how they blended together, and the formations almost like clouds. Oh, just was so beautiful. Let me ask you a question. What's that beauty for? What is the scientific purpose of that beauty? Tell me, what's the scientific purpose? My dear friend Chuck Behringer just sent a picture. He's over on the East Coast, just sent a picture of a sunrise, gorgeous sunrise over the ocean. Gorgeous. What's the purpose of that beauty? What's the purpose of the beauty of a sunset? What's the purpose of the beauty of a flower? What's the purpose of the beauty of a tall green tree standing against the blue sky with its leaves shimmering in the wind? Oh. What's the purpose of that beauty? It has no purpose other than for us to become aware and awake and feel joy in our hearts. It has no scientific purpose. It's just for you. It's just for me. But if we're not seeing it, well, what if we're not seeing it? What if it's there and we're not seeing it? I was I was I was going to the mail post, a place where we get our mail, when we lived in a place before we live here now, and the parking, it had rained and the parking lot was wet, and there was a sunset that was one of those sunsets once in a lifetime. Bright yellows against deep reds that went into violets, and then the soft gray of the clouds. Oh, it was just heartbreakingly beautiful. And the sunset spilled down on the water that was in the parking lot. So the parking lot was alive. So I stuck my head in the door, and there were several people in the mail post, and I said, "You guys have got to come out here and look at this." So they all said, oh, and they all filed out, and they looked, and they said, "What?" I said, "The sunset and the light on the parking lot." And they said, "Oh, yeah. And they went back. Oh, they just went back in. And this one woman stayed out there for just a minute. And she said, "Boy, I wish my husband could see this. He's an artist. He'd really love it." And then she went back in. I was at sea, and I was at the tail end of a hurricane, and we'd been tucked in behind an island. And the hurricane was over, and all the cormorants that lived on that island had gone ashore, had flown over shore when the hurricane came. Now they were coming back, and they were all flying, and I was up on the highest part of the boat on the flybridge, and these cormorants were coming back in V shapes underneath me and all around me. And I was playing on the sound system Jonathan Livingston Seagull by Neil Diamond. It was Skybird. Oh, it was just, and the sun was going down, but there was a little bit of a sunset, and a full moon was coming up over in the east, and the light of the sunset made the moon coming up kind of a rosy pink. So I went downstairs into the galley, and everybody was in there playing poker and playing cards. And I said, "You guys have got to come up on the high bridge." And so they all streamed up on the high bridge, and they were saying, "What? And I said, "The birds and the sunset and the sky, and look at the moon." And they're going, and there was this very soft, light rain falling, just caressing rain. "Yeah, what?" And the woman said, "I just washed my hair." And they all went back down. And I was standing there alone. That's the heart, my dear friend. That's our hearts. We have to let them lead the way. We have to let them lead the way. Jennifer Williamson said, there's an ocean of innocent wisdom in you. Put your hand on your heart and feel it beating. And here's the way to get the heart habit going. Imagine you're breathing in and out of your heart. Have your hand on your heart and just imagine that you're breathing in and out of your heart instead of your lungs. Just imagine that. Just imagine it and see what magic happens for you. See what magic happens. Because I think you're going to find it's pretty incredible. So imagine your heart being a source of pleasure, of appreciation, of joy. Breathe in these positive emotions and let your heart heal you. That's what it was meant to do. It'll heal you. It'll heal you physically, mentally, emotionally, if you'll just let it. So while the brain thinks, the heart knows. Hey, but we're used to figuring things out, right? We're used to figuring everything out. So I use my brain. I say, oh, I don't know about this. Somebody says something, I don't know about this. So we have to figure it out. Well, you'll never know it until you know it in your heart. Aberjani said, there is within the human heart a quality of intelligence which has been known to surpass that attributed to the human mind. And Carl Jung reminds us that your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens. The heart teaches us that answers are good, but that questions are better. In other words, curiosity is the key to all success, and the heart is a curious mind. Albert Einstein, excuse me, said, I have no special talent. I'm only very, very passionately curious. He said, the important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. Never, ever lose a holy curiosity. So then, my friends, this week, let's be clear. Let's keep a clear thought. If I went into my heart right now and I said, what is a clear thought? What is a clear thought? A clear thought is that I love my wife. I probably could come up with other clear thoughts, but that's the one that comes to me. That's unchangeable. That's not going away. That's permanent. That's anchored inside of me. And if I keep that clear thought and I keep it in thought consciousness and invite you now to get a clear thought, one that's not changeable in your heart, a clear thought. Hold it in consciousness and let that thought be the key that opens the door into the heart vault of love and of truth. This week we go out into our world and we make a difference. You are a carrier of light. You're a bearer of light. The light within you is unlike any light any other person ever has or ever will have. That's the real you. And if you dare to share it, there's a healing that goes out with that. A smile, a kind word. You look good today. I hope you have a good day. If you say to a total stranger, I hope you're having a good day, it stops them. The heart in them opens and your heart goes in. So we are light carriers. We're light bearers. Let's go forward this week with our hearts. With our hearts. Let's make a difference in our world. I thank you for being with me today. It's been and always is a real honor spending this half hour with you. If you've enjoyed today's message, will you please make a donation to help us keep these weekly resets coming? You'll find the donate button on my website, bobtrask.com, in the upper right-hand corner. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Now, for the next half hour, you're welcome to stay with us for a group discussion and questions and answers about today's talk. Or if you need to run off, then feel free to go, and we'll see you next week. And just know that wherever you go, whatever you do, you're being loved. You're always, always being loved. Always.